Punch Out. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Breaking down tonight's 11-game slate starting at 7:05. Couple arms up top that you need to stay away from pretty much, but overall, kind of your average slate.
Average, some really good arms, though. I think overall, I mentioned on the pitcher pod that this slate was made for a particular pitcher, but yeah, overall, definitely some guys to target.
Yeah, we'll come across him a little bit later on, but we know who you're talking about.
That's right.
Nationals and Braves, Rob Wayland versus Reynaldo Lopez, and Nationals prices here, continue to be pretty average on FanDuel, which I'm completely okay with. I'm definitely okay with attacking Wayland tonight, and really looking to do it with the front five in that lineup.
Yeah, give me Daniel Murphy at 38 for sure. Trey Turner's just been mashing of late. Pretty much every night he's 34. I'll take that in cash every day. It's pretty simple. I think you go with those two and log out.
Yeah, definitely think so as well. And even a Wilson Ramos, I really don't mind at 3,400. Not really looking to pay up for Worth at 38. I think that's a little too high.
Yeah, I agree.
So, as far as the Braves go, I don't mind some of these prices against Lopez. A couple of those lefties like an Incayarte or Freeman, much more easy to kind of deploy here over on FanDuel.
I guess we got to respect Freddie Freeman at this point against righties there, huh?
He's okay.
Yeah, obviously 36. He's definitely in play again against another mediocre right-hander. So keep that in mind. Other than that, though, is Nick Markakis at 25 in play, or is that just kind of it's Nick Markakis and you just avoid it anyway?
He's one of those guys. If I can't quite get a better guy around that range, he'll fit in. He's just one of those guys who's like, okay, I guess he fits. I'll toss him in to kind of round out a lineup.
Oh, he's certainly not someone you're excited to throw in there. That's
no,
for sure.
He's the last guy you plug into your lineup.
Yeah. You got 2,500 left. You're like, all right, let's see what we got here. It's like Nick Markakis or like the manager, and you're like, well, okay.
All right, get in here.
Never mind, Bobby Cox. Thank you.
Rockies and Phillies. Next one, you got Tyler Anderson versus Gerard Eichhoff. And this one, we talked about as possibly being one of the lower scoring games on the night. Obviously, that was not the case last night. There were some runs scored on both sides. I'm okay with still targeting guys like Blackman and Cargo if Cargo's in the lineup in GPPs, and same thing with David Dahl, because Eichhoff does have a little bit of a weakness with lefties that I'm okay with exploiting.
Yeah, I agree. I do like some of the righties in this matchup. You look at Arenado at 39, LeMahieu at 33. I definitely think those are some guys I'm looking to target in tournaments.
As far as the Phillies go, I don't mind using like an Aaron Alter, Cesar Hernandez, Maikel Franco in tournaments. And it seems like Phillies have been on a lot of tournament-winning teams lately, and I think just for that reason they're cheap and they're low-owned. So I'm okay with using them in a tournament fashion, but I feel like this game alone is just a big GPP game.
Agreed. Yeah, not much I'm interested here.
Padres and Mets next. You got Jacob deGrom versus Jared Cozart. Padres, for me, a pretty easy fade against deGrom. I'm not expecting a big Ryan Schimpf night. I think that was saved for last night, and it'll come back down to earth.
My God, what the heck, dude? This guy, this lineup, man, I just, Can we get just a moment of hate for a second? Because that's what I have for them right now. Just stop. Lay down. Your season's over. Let me get my fantasy points, please. Stop it. Okay. All right, I feel better. Feel better.
So, no Padres for you tonight?
No.
Me either. So looking at Mets, I'm okay with targeting really the front four here. I don't mind Neil Walker's price at 3,400. I definitely think that's reasonable. Same thing with Jay Bruce. And I'll continue to kind of punt catcher as long as Travis d'Arnaud's in that 6th spot. It's a pretty friendly spot for him.
Yeah, I can't imagine we'll get the same results we got yesterday or last night, but at the same time, it's still a good spot for him. So we'll see if he can get a few hits.
And with DeGrom and Bumgarner kind of being your top options tonight, punting catcher isn't the worst idea.
Right.
So, Reds and Brewers, Zach Davies versus Dan Straley. And looking at the Reds side, I mean, Billy Hamilton just continues to rack up stolen bases, continues to be a much more friendlier price here on FanDuel. 3,400, I think he's a guy who I'm looking at just because Davies has been pretty average against left-handed bats. I feel completely comfortable with using Hamilton again.
I feel pretty comfortable saying Billy Hamilton's the only guy that can strike out 3 times, go 1 for 4, and still get 24 FanDuel points. I'm really comfortable in saying that.
It's baffling when you look at his box scores at times and figure, okay, he gets on twice, basically, and he was even thrown out once.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's wild. But, hey, you know what? Like, that's the trend. That's where we knew he had the speed, but this stretch here is just, like, crazy. So, yeah, I mean, I think we just keep firing away with it on, at least at these FanDuel prices. At least DK's making you pay up, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And Joey Votto at 3.8, I certainly don't mind. I mean, Votto, nothing really productive, but once again last night, I mean, reach base multiple times. He just continues to be a consistent option. Him and Duvall, I definitely don't mind, but outside of that, I'm just kind of limiting myself.
Yeah, agreed. I think those 3 and kind of don't worry about the rest.
Yeah, as far as the Brewers go, I mean, you look at Dan Straley, I mean, he's been good at times, a little bit of a home run-prone pitcher. In that ballpark, I don't find myself using a ton of Brewers, but for me, it's still the same kind of Villar-Braun pairing that you can take a look at. Gannett, I'm not really looking to use with Walker right there. I kind of like Walker and what he's been doing of late a little bit better.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Dan Straley, everyone. A Tale of Two Cities. Anyway, yeah, overall, I'm pretty lukewarm on this offense. They are projected for 4.5 runs. Maybe I go at Scooter Gannett again, just because he's cheap. But overall, not too excited about this lineup.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Royals and Twins next. Tyler Duffy versus Dylan G. I like the Twins' bats quite a bit here against G, and they're much more manageable of a price here. The front 4 over on DraftKings were all priced up over $5K, which was a little bit crazy. Here, much more reasonable. I'm fine with working them in and out of lineups as far as GPPs go, just because G really isn't good against both sides of the plate.
What's crazy about Max Kepler being over 5, Jason?
There's nothing crazy about that. There are some people that do and have thought that in the past.
Oh,
I don't know who they were.
I don't know either. But yeah, no, you definitely like these Twins prices on here. Obviously, the Mauer at 3.2 is, you don't normally want to play him, but I think on a night like tonight, he might be someone to throw in there. Maybe get a little lower ownership in a good spot.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, look at G, 389 Woba to lefties, 1.41 home runs per 9 since last year. 332 Woba to righties, 1.55 home runs per 9. I mean, there's a lot of potential for guys like Kepler and Sano, Dozier, and Mauer to have a big night. I'm not really finding myself diving down. I think I'm just going to limit myself to the front 4.
Yep, agreed.
As far as the Royals go, Duffy reverse splits guy. Righties off of him, 373 Woba, 1.80 home runs per 9. I don't mind a Salvador Perez. I think he's obviously an intriguing option. And depending on the top of the lineup, I don't mind some of those guys for value. It's another night where I'm not really – I like the matchup, but I'm not getting crazy with the Royals.
I will say if I was a Pirate and this game was like a Pirate map, X would be Lorenzo Cain, and I'd be circling him. Put a little X. That's where the treasure is. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
I'm fine with that because of Duffy's reverse splits. I mean, yeah, he's been bad against righties, and they've hit him hard. Even though Lorenzo Cain hasn't been the most consistent option, I like the upside that he brings at 3,100.
Right, exactly. So overall, good play. I'm not all in on the offense, though.
No, me either. Angels and Indians next. Mike Clevenger versus Matt Schumacher. And the Indians' price tags are certainly much more reasonable to work in on FanDuel as compared to the over 5K prices that DK brings. And once again, I feel comfortable using the middle of this lineup really in any format. They just continue to be money against right-handed pitching.
Okay. I feel like Matt Schumacher's kind of a good leverage play today. I know it's a really bad matchup and like he's likely to get shelled, but I just feel like this Indians ownership, especially on FanDuel with these prices, is going to be really high. I don't see many people being on Schumacher. I think you could get him at 5 to 10%, hopefully more towards that 5% range. And I feel like that could end up pretty well for you if he has a good night. But overall, obviously, if things go according to plan, you're looking at Rajai Davis at 29. You're looking at Kipnis at 37. I think you can fire away with the first five in this lineup like most nights.
Yeah, I think so too. And on the Angels side, I mean, pretty mediocre right-hander. I'm okay with using basically the big three there, Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols. I'm okay with using them because they're always kind of those players that do slip under the radar on such big slates because they're not a productive offense, and they really are limited to those three guys. So I'm okay with making a move with them in GPPs.
Yeah, and Calhoun's kind of been getting hot of late, so this is another good matchup that maybe he can keep that rolling with.
Yeah, certainly. But overall, I think you look at the Indians and maybe a little bit of a Calhoun or Trout and kind of move on.
Yeah.
White Sox and Marlins, Adam Conley, James Shields, and Conley was the guy you were referring to. It just feels like an Adam Conley slate where it's either all in or all out. Like, it's just you never know what you're going to get.
And there's some good arms. There's not really that many mid-range arms. He's facing a really volatile offense. It's just like, yeah, this is what we know. This is him. He's in his natural habitat. I love him. I think he's a borderline sort of with value considered, like in that sort of cash range. But at the same time, I guess we can look at some of these White Sox bats if things go downhill. What are you looking at here?
So. I think you can in a GPP standpoint just because they're at such great prices for the upside. I mean, you look at obviously Frazier's numbers against lefties, very solid. Yeah. Such a boomer bust type guy with pretty much the rest of these guys. So I'm okay with using Tyler Saladino was a guy you were tossing into lineups last night. I know that if he's up in the top of the lineup, could be a solid value again. Abreu Cabrera, I'm certainly okay with it doing because Conley is one of those guys where it's Jekyll and Hyde with him. He's either all in or all out, and it's something that, hey, if you're on the other side of it, great. You could definitely make a move that way.
Saladino was fun last night for me. I certainly didn't have the Hanley or who was the other one? Oh, Schimpf. I certainly didn't have either of those two, but at least I had Saladino to keep me company while I was.
What a name company you have there.
I know, right? As I was getting bodied by the Padres lineup, whatever. I mean, Jose Abreu is semi-interesting at 3K as well. I think an Abreu-Frazier little grouping there. I'm not against that in a tournament if you're making multiple lineups.
No, I don't think so either. And as far as the Marlins go, Shields, I mean, back-to-back blow-up games. He's a guy who you're always looking to kind of stack against. I really like the Yelich price tag. I mean, 3,400. That's an excellent value for him in this matchup. You just look at Shields, struggles tremendously with lefties, gives up a ton of homers. Him and Gordon, I mean, obviously the only two lefties in the top five, but even guys like Prado, Stanton, and Ozuna are guys I'll feel free firing away with.
Yeah, I like D. Gordon. D. Gordon and Yelich are the guys I'm really looking strong at. Obviously, the lefties in that lineup. I mean, I still don't hate Ozuna at this price. I feel like I've said that about 50 times this season already. He has been struggling, so I think it's smart to avoid him. But at that price, he still does have that power, even against righties.
And even JT Realmuto, I don't mind, is kind of a cheaper catcher option, 2,800. He's obviously going to be a low-owned play. Just kind of there are some catchers we've already run over already, so I'm okay with using him there too.
And my spidey sense is tingling with Derek Dietrich being in the FanDuel Cafe value. So I have a feeling he's going to be in there. Just the lefty matchup versus James Shields.
At 2,300.
Batting seventh at 2,300. That's got FanDuel Cafe value written all over it.
It certainly does. I don't know. I think I know you probably haven't even looked. I think you really just know that because it's that low in the matchup as well.
I mean, I definitely looked last night when I was sort of getting the article together, but I didn't like notice if he was in there or not. He's absolutely in there. Absolutely.
Now I don't believe you. Now I know you looked.
Damn it. I really don't know, but now it's like in a court of law, I would definitely be guilty. So,
Yeah.
whatever. Whatever. You know, I don't even care.
Whatever.
Become a conspiracy theorist.
Diamondbacks and Red Sox next here. Clay Buchholz versus Archie Bradley. The combined total here is the highest on the board tonight, as kind of expected, with Buchholz going and Bradley. Archie Bradley is a guy who struggles tremendously with left-handers. 361 WOBA, 38% hard ball rate. This is also a lineup that is a little bit banged up. Pedroia left the game last night. Bradley Jr. has a toe issue. I like the lefties quite a bit here, and I wrote up the stacking that I kind of like a lefty stack. Just tossing lefties against Bradley here. Benintendi, Leone, Bradley, Shaw. Like I don't mind going that route here.
You know what this Bradley versus the Red Sox matchup reminds me of? Back in the early 2000s, there was a man, Archie Bradley's cousin Sean Bradley, used to have to guard Shaq, and he would get dunked on about 15 times a game. That's what this matchup reminds me of.
So you're going to say Ortiz is going to have at least 3 homers in the paint tonight?
He's going to just get dunked on. I don't know who it's going to be by, but it's going to be multiple times. So this is going to be an unfortunate outing for Bradley.
I think so, too. It's just the lefty matchup with a couple of those guys. And obviously Shaw is a guy who hits better at Fenway. Bradley, I mean, if he's in the lineup, is something I'm looking at. And obviously Leone and Benintendi are 2 guys that I'm certainly intrigued with at their prices.
Even at 38, if Bradley's in there, is he in cash consideration? I kind of feel like he is.
I think so. I mean, middle of that lineup in a run total projected over 6. With this matchup alone, I think he's a solid option.
Yeah, definitely.
As far as the Diamondbacks go, I mean, I like some of these prices. I mean, obviously, it's hard to get away from Jake Lamb at 3,200.
It's gonna be really hard to get away from Jake Lamb at 3,200.
Him, Segura, and Goldschmidt, I don't mind as a little 3-person stack there against Buchholz.
I agree. Yeah, this seems like a matchup where Goldschmidt could have a day against Buchholz. I mean. We've just seen it this year, so I definitely like that 3-person. Realistically, though, I'm probably just going to go with Goldschmidt and Lamb, but I really like that combination. Averages out to like 37, 38 each. So,
and the good thing, I mean, Goldschmidt could be an interesting pivot away from Ortiz.
Yep, absolutely.
And staying within the same game and kind of just making a move in one of the higher totals on the night. Good ballpark factors there for Goldie. It's a nice move away, even though I do think Goldschmidt's still going to be around 15%. It's still a move away from Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tigers and Rangers here. Cole Hamels, Matt Boyd, and Lucroy coming off a amazing night.
Monster night.
Lucroy is just cruising in Texas right now.
It's incredible. I mean, this is apparently he's happy, and why wouldn't you be moving from the Brewers to the Rangers? I feel like. That's a big step up, not only with the lineup, but just everything. I feel like everything about that situation is better for him. So, yeah, I mean, I don't expect it to continue like this, but another pretty good matchup tonight.
Certainly is. I like those right-handed bats quite a bit. You do have to pay up a little bit to get them, but I do think kind of squeezing in a Beltre, Lucroy, a Beltran, Desmond, if you wanted to go that route, I'm certainly okay with that.
Yeah, this is more of a one-off group for me just based on the pricing, but like you mentioned, I'm okay with a Lucroy. I'm okay with a Beltre. Even an Ian Desmond, again, can go down that road. I feel pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, certainly. And as far as the Tigers go, obviously Hamels has struggled a little bit in Arlington. Some of these prices I'm okay with taking shots at in more of a one-off GPP standpoint, like Kinsler, like JD Martinez. I'm okay with those guys. They're not quite the same value they were over on DraftKings, but I don't mind them here.
Yeah, I agree. I don't mind them, but again, that's not really a vote of confidence to say that. So I could see myself taking a shot with Miguel Cabrera or a Kinsler, but I don't see getting much exposure.
No, it's something that's just one-off, maybe 1 out of 10 lineups. I get 1 or 2 of these guys in and kind of mix and match to be a little different.
It's more just maybe I'm going to fade Hamels, than anything else.
Yeah, that's true, too. I mean, it's kind of almost a washout either way, but I mean, by saying that, someone still has to do a little bit of damage off Hamels for that to happen.
Yeah, maybe Andrew Romine. Yeah,
That's certainly possible.
two singles, and a stolen base on a bad throw by the catcher.
Hey, don't knock James McCann. I mean, he'll pop a lefty into the seats.
He'll pop a cap.
All right. Mariners and A's next year. Kendall Graveman versus Sashi Iwakuma. I'm a big fan of Iwakuma tonight. I think he's a strong option. I'm not really looking at some of these A's guys. I mean, I think Chris Davis and Stephen Vogt are probably the only two I might throw a look at. But for the most part, I'm really looking at Seattle.
Nah, bruh. We're done with the A's against righties for me. I'm done. So I like Iwakuma, obviously coming off the really strong 2 start in a row type of deal he's going right now. I expect him to make it 3 tonight.
Yeah, I certainly do too, and I expect him to be backed by some of this, Seattle offense. And I'm really okay with going down to the value guys as well as the Seager, Cano group. I don't mind Aoki or Seth Smith up top.
Right. Agreed.
You just look at Graveman. I mean, 341 woba to lefty since last year. Pretty average hard ball rate. It kind of adds up, even though it's a bad ballpark. I'm okay with some of those prices.
Mm-hmm.
Orioles and Giants, Madison Bumgarner versus Kevin Gossman. This game I'm not really intrigued with as far as offense goes. Gossman's pretty strong against left-handers, which obviously the Giants are a heavy lefty team. But I'm okay with using Pence and Posey, just given the fact that Gossman is a reverse splits pitcher.
Yeah. Again, you can sort of look at Posey. I'm okay with that at his price. He's kind of reduced compared to what I normally feel like. I feel like I'm just being forced to fade him most nights. So tonight I don't feel that way. Certainly okay with Hunter Pence as well, as you mentioned, but overall not too excited with this lineup.
No, I'm not either. In this game in general, I mean, some of these guys are priced down, but like a Machado, 3.5, he's around guys like Jake Lamb, he's around Beltre in better spots. Jones is 3.1. I can't see myself buying into the Orioles, even though, they do have a quality right-handed lineup. It's just something they haven't been good against lefties this year.
Yeah, no thanks.
So that's going to wrap it up with the FanDuel Punch-Out. Be sure to check out dailyfantasycafe.com for all great tools and content.